Am I? Oh, am I live now? Am I? Oh, am I live now? Am I? I'm in a loop. I'm in a loop. Let me close it on my phone. Okay. I've closed it on my phone, so hopefully I am too pretty to be smart. I don't know what's going on. Okay, I think I'm live now. It seems like I'm back, and I hope that that loop of me asking if I'm live now has gone away now that I've closed the phone. Hello, Justin. Hello, Dion. Hello, Don. Hello, Tanya and Janet and Locke. I think I saw somewhere in the chat. Hello, everybody. And if I missed anybody, hello. I don't know what I did, but I did something, and it seems to have worked. So here we are. It told me that my connection was unstable, and I was like, "Do you mean on YouTube or in life in general?" Because girl, same. Um, Hello, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Yes, take a deep breath. I'll take a little swig of my delightful mug zero sugar root beer. Hello. Hello. Yes, my gem. There's going to be a couple gem videos coming soon. This is the Loyal Subjects. This is their gem doll, and their Pizzazz doll should be out very soon. I'm super excited about that. But yeah, so we are here. Welcome everybody. If you don't know me, I'm sure everybody that's here knows me. But I am Janessa J. Champagne, and I'm North Dakota's trash queen of glam, geek, and gore. And we are here. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And oh yeah, I have gotten so used to drinking zero sugar sodas that now when I drink anything, I can drink fountain drinks that are full sugar, but if I have like a can of something that's full sugar, it just tastes like syrup to me. Um, it's too much. Yeah. So here we are. We are going to unpack for my trip. So a lot of you know the last live that I did was actually me packing for the trip. And I showed off my little toolbox, Michael's craft storage makeup case, and we went through and we were packing this. And afterwards, then I was like, oh, I'll just grab a little bit of this, and I'll just grab a little bit of this, and maybe a little bit of this. And I ended up with an extra container. So we have two. This is a makeup train case that I bought from Sephora, I believe. And so we ended up with enough extra stuff. And as Tanya noticed when I posted a picture, I did stop at Five Below and buy even more. I have so many bags of these sponges. And yeah, it's become a little bit of an obsession for me. I love these. And I actually, I'm sending Dion a whole bunch of sponges because I went a little crazy. I've bought a lot of those bags of sponges, and I actually got a lot of use out of them on this trip. And but yeah, so we're going to be talking about what I use. So I went on a little road trip. I'm on vacation. I don't have to go back to work till Monday. Last time I did this trip, I do this trip with my friend who's a photographer. We meet up like once a year at this lake house in Minnesota and do fabulous photos and all kinds of stuff. And the last time I like came back and went back to work the next day. And this year I remembered that I always need a vacation from my vacation. And so I am not going back to work till Monday. So I thought, well, I'll do a little live tonight. Today was just laying on the couch recovering, watching my stories and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, well, let's do a live tonight and unpack the makeup and talk about what I actually used. Because I always like to bring options. I bring way more makeup than I actually need. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Let me see what's going on. Yes, this is quite the train case. I love this, but I don't get much use out of it because that little plastic one is so convenient. And so this one, I was excited when I needed overflow. I was like, look, I can finally bust that out. Yes, I did officiate a wedding. So my friend Brooklyn, who does a lot of my photo shoots, she and her longtime boyfriend Jerry got married, and I got to do the wedding, which was very lovely and sweet. And the woman who owns the vacation rental that we go to, it's called Grandpa's Pool House. And if you go to grandpaspoolhouse.com, you can see it. And I'm going to try to do a post where I put a bunch of pictures, but it's this beautiful lake house that's all decorated in vintage furniture and fun kitschy things and like beer signs and pictures of women bodybuilders. And just, it's so cute and funky and fun. And she's always moving stuff around to create new little setups. And people go there to like do photo shoots and stuff all the time. But she also owns now a wedding chapel in North St. Paul called the Garter Toss. And so we went there and it's the same like vintage fun vibe. And we did a wedding and I got to officiate and it was so much fun. I loved it. Yes, Dion, I'm glad to be here and do a little unpacking. I'm glad I finally got connected. Oh, yes. I've only done 2 weddings so far, and they were both pretty wild for very different reasons. The first one was a bit of a mess, but oh, yeah, it was wild. Yeah, so let's get in and we will talk about some of the makeup that I took with me, and we'll talk about what I used. Yes, the Glow Wrestlers. She has lots of like fun bodybuilders and stuff that are pictures of bodybuilders, and it's very that. It's very like Glow Wrestling. And when I was repacking, I just kind of threw stuff in here, so it's a little bit wild. And I'll try to keep an eye on the comments. And yeah, so let's just go through it and start unpacking. This one I didn't end up using. This is the Physicians Formula bronzer. And this I literally just bought to smell it. I love it. So that one I didn't end up using, but I do love it. This I used a lot of, and it's all dirty because I did, if you saw any of the, oh God, I forgot what I have to do to make these show up. This is so blown out because it's yellow. There we go. This is the Spectra set by Glisten. And if you saw the preview photo, I did a Ms. Pac-Man look. And so I used yellow foundation and I used this to set it. So this is like a yellow powder. So I used a lot of this. And eyelash glue, obviously we used that. Let me throw that back into its little holder. NYX glitter glue, I ended up not using this. When we get to the eyeshadows, I used eyeshadows that lay down so beautifully, I didn't even need to use a glitter primer. Oh, opening a new sneaky beverage. Yeah, so I didn't end up using that. I didn't end up using the Juvia's Place eye primer. I brought my Ulta, and this was getting low, so I was like, well, I'll bring a backup, but I love this one so much. This is like 12 bucks, and it's so good. And I was like, well, it's getting low, so I should bring extra, but I had enough, so I didn't need this. I do like the Juvia's, but I like this one better. Um, Dawn is always number one. The algorithm loves her because sometimes even if everybody's like tied, it'll still give Dawn number one. I love it. Um, yes, the Physicians Formula, it has kind of like this coconutty, almost a little bit tanning lotion kind of smell. So if you don't have one of these little bronzers that they do, you should get one just for the smell. Oh, pretty girl. So good. Yeah, I love that Ulta primer. Yes, the butter bronzers, and this is a new packaging for the butter bronzer. So this is usually they're in more of like a green, like a darker green and yellow kind of packaging, but this is I think is this the like Muru butter bronzer? And this is just in the shade is just called bronzer. Mm, I love that smell. Absolutely use this. This is the Makeup Revolution cream bronzer. I use this for my contouring, and you can tell we're getting low on that one. We've hit pan on this one. And yeah, I know Makeup Revolution is in trouble. At some point, I might just have to go to Ulta and buy like 4 of these just so that I have them because they're less than 10 bucks. They're so good. Oh, I love this. I love this so much. Um, Oh, the tanning lotion. There's something that's so 80s to me about tanning, like Hawaiian Tropic. Because I live in North Dakota and we're a whole bunch of like pale white people. And Especially, like, in the '80s, tanning was such a thing, and if you come from a place where it's all pale people who never see the sun, like, everybody was always trying to like, people tan to go on vacation to places where you get tan because they didn't wanna show up looking like this, and then everybody's like, "Where did those underground Morlocks come from?" And so people would tan to go on vacation. They would set up a base tan, and fake tanning, if you're my color and you do fake tanning, I always joke that like tanning beds are for white people who wish they were people of color, and they've decided that orange is as good a color as any because that's what tanning beds do. They just turn you orange. Like fake tanning beds on me, it just turns you orange, orange, orange. And it's so Hawaiian Tropic was deeply embedded into my psyche because that last month of school and then all through the summer, all of the girls in my town all that's all they smelled like, is they smelled like Hawaiian Tropic. It was crazy. It's wild. Yeah, cornfields in Chicago. I love it. Oh, yeah, I definitely need even if there's not a sale, I'm gonna have to get that because these are seriously like 6 or $7, and I'm worried that it's gonna go away. I'm worried that Makeup Revolution has had so many, like, bankruptcy close calls and so many things that I'm like, "If I can get a bunch of these, I'm just gonna do it." Oh, love it. And I've got a bunch of brushes. So all of my brushes, when we get to the other, no, is it in here? Oh yeah, it's down in the bottom. I'll pull it out. I like to have options. So this is my brush bag that I brought. And these are the unused brushes because I am notorious for like finding a brush, like a paddle brush, and I'll have a color switch. And I've got every brush. I have so many brushes. When I have to wash brushes, it gets ridiculous because I leave them until they're like all dirty and then I wash 6,000 brushes. And for owning all those brushes, like I'll be doing a look and I'll find one brush and I'll have a color switch and I'll switch it in between and I'll do a look with like two brushes. So I was like, I'm not going to do it on this trip. Every color is going to get a second brush. And I had a color switch with me anyway. And on the last look, I did clean a couple of them just because it's faster. It's a little bit more convenient. But so these are all the brushes that came back clean. And then I just have a ton of little brushes that are just like scattered throughout, that are just all over the place. But I did do a pretty good job of like using a different brush for each color. Like I said, it was just that last look. I was a little bit running behind for the last look, the Miss Pac-Man look, and so I just like grabbed the color switch to switch a little bit faster than I could do, rather than rooting through and finding that. But I did end up using a lot of brushes, especially these. I love these blend. This was the blend. I know it's all super blown out. These are like the Blend Bunny and Lynn's collection. There's a yellow one, there's a green one, and I know they're so blown out. There was a way that I did this, and I can't remember how it was. There you can kind of see the colors. But I used a bunch of these. I really loved these. Hello, Sarah. How's it going? Um, you had an orange year, Janet. Like it was a thing. I did it myself, and let me tell you, I'm kicking myself because little closeted 16-year-old Janessa, was I was much skinnier. I was very like I was always like I was 6'2" in like 5th grade. So I was tall, I was like built a little bit bigger, but I wasn't quite as voluptuous. And one year I bought this self tanner and I did like 3 coats and it was this beautiful bronze brown. And I should have stayed right there. I should have stopped. And I was like, you know what? If I do one more coat, I was like, this will be so beautiful. I was like, this is good, but it could be just a little bit more. And I should have stopped. I flew too close to the sun because let me tell you, I did that last coat pumpkin orange. I was so orange and I had been so like just like bronze and beautiful, but it was just a little bit too light. It was a little bit too, and I should have stopped, but I fell into that fake tan trap and I turned orange, like orange, like glow in the dark orange. It was too much. Yeah, I have so many brushes with me, and like those were all the clean ones. Now these are some of the dirty ones. I'm trying to get them out of the way so that I can. What's an easy place? We'll dump them in the last drawer for now. I forgot to bring the little. I have little containers that I put them in until I wash them. Sun in. Yes, I did sun in before I started bleaching my hair. I right now I'm at my natural hair color, and I took pictures in the pool, and I was like, I'm 1,000 years old. I'm officially 1,000 years old because my hair it's not looking as much right now because it is like naturally kind of a dark brown. But as you can see on the sides, there's some silver popping up in here, and so I need to get that taken care of. But I didn't have a chance to dye it again before I got my hair cut, so I'm letting it grow a little bit so that I can bleach it because this feels weird to me, and I'm like, oh, it's too much. It's too much. Orange face, big hair. I love it. Yes, orange was the theme of the high school years. Glad Sarah's here. Hello, hello. Oh, the self-tan. Yeah, that's it was bad. It was so bad. Hello, Grace. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, the self-tanner not for the face. I think most of us were pretty good about not doing that because that would have been too crazy. But yeah, the body just orange, orange. And that was the other thing is that like there was some in the 80s, I don't feel like there was as much bronzer. And so sometimes people would buy their foundation a little bit darker to kind of match. But once people started doing the heavy like orange tanning, and then you'd have this like day glow face because it was just like it stopped at the neck. It was a lot. There was not we were not matching our foundation to our neck in the 80s. I don't know what we were feral. We were feral. Feral creatures. It was a lot. It was a lot. Um I love it. Oh, yeah, trying to get brows to match. It's a lot. It's a lot. The sun in. Yeah, I don't oh I'm trying to be like, this is what happens. This is natural. You can see like right through to my scalp as well. And I'm just like, girl, that's why I wear wigs. That's why I'm usually never on YouTube as the potato face serial killer, except at the very beginning of a makeup application. This is the master class. This is the like shimmer blush palette. Love this with the Pac-Man look. When you see pictures from the Pac-Man look, did a little bit of this with the blush to kind of glow it up. Mostly I used Give Me Glow blushes for the looks, but I did bring in a little bit of this. And yeah, I was very excited about that. Speaking of, the next Get Ratchet with Me that I am filming is going to be Blend Bunny, and we are going to be using the Longing palette. This is going to be the slightly more neutral one. And so we are going to do Pretty Girl. Oh, sorry, I'm a monster. But here's the Longing palette, which is some beautiful murky greens and some plummy purples kind of shades. So we're going to do a slightly more neutral, more subdued kind of look. And then we're going to play with the Masterclass blushes. And for that one, we are going to play with these more neutral blushes on this row. Very excited for that. Maybe a little bit into these kind of pinky shades. But we're going to keep it more neutral because I know for the Pride look that Deanna and I did on the live, I kind of played in these more colorful ones. And we're going to do a look with I'm going to do another Get Ratchet with Me where I use the Ocean Jewel palette from Bella Beauté Bar. And then we're going to use like these purple blushes and the shimmery purples from this one. Ooh, can we get it? There we go. So those two, I need more hands. So like the shimmery purples, and we'll do that purple, green, blue color story of the Bella Beauté Bar. So we're gonna have some fun playing with these. I'm very excited about that. So that's gonna be coming up soon. As we go through, so this is from the old Morphe brush. If anybody was here on the last live that I did, I cannot say brush correctly now. I just go immediately to blush. This brush is from the old Morphe line, and it's this weird kind of like domed and it's weirdly firm. This for using on a bronzer, like a powder bronzer to do contour. I wish that these brushes were still around. I would buy 10 of them because I use this constantly and then it's constantly dirty and then I have to try to wash it and oh, yes, Dion, I am so ready for your blend bunny. I cannot wait to hear what you think because I have been loving it so far. I just for this trip I was trying to simplify and not bring that whole palette. But I love playing with those. I always wear falsies, but I did use the Melt Supernatural mascara to kind of darken my lashes, and I did like it. I have thin, blonde, glass-like lashes, and so they don't really mascara a lot of times, it's either just okay or it's a disappointment. There are very few mascaras that I actually find give me a lot of volume and body and all that kind of stuff, and I liked that Supernatural one, that was pretty good. Um, I do generally like salt and pepper hair. Like I don't mind it. I just don't like it on me. For me, I will be forever 19 and blonde and stupid and all that kind of. In fact, I've already started planning for my next photo shoot with Brooklyn. I'm starting to plan for what I want to bring for next year. And I have a necklace that has inspired a whole outfit and it's this one that I got on Etsy. And so we're gonna do a dumb blonde theme where I'm gonna have very bleached blonde hair. And I bought some fabric. We went to SR Harris, this fabric warehouse, and I bought some fabric. I've got a dress a dress and a jacket kind of planned, kind of a big gown moment. And then we'll do big bleach blonde hair, and I'll do kind of like very like innocent Betty Boop bedroom kind of eyes. I'm very excited for that. Good night, Locke. Thanks for stopping in. Very excited. Let's see here. Yes, natural brown hair. My mom has silver hair. Yeah, I don't, and that's the thing is my hair is so dark naturally that if I had a lighter color and the silver just kind of mixed in, but I feel like I get that very extreme because this and also this haircut. When I went and got this haircut, I mean, I always tell them that I like a flat top, and I was like, I want it to be short on the sides and back, and I want basically straight up like a flat top. But she did something where she kind of curved it a little bit in, and it just always is standing straight up. Like it's hard. I have to really work to kind of push it down if I want to do any kind of thing. I look like a casting call for like Southern Sheriff number three, if you know what I mean. Like for any movie, like this my natural hair, I just I just don't like it. I don't like it. Um yeah, the violet blush is gorgeous in the Blend Bunny. Yes, yes, I'm so excited for the Blend Bunny. Um yes, thank you, Dion. Everyone thumbs up the video. I appreciate it. Oh, your eyelashes grow straight out. I just I was so blonde as a kid and like my hair darkened, but I shave them off now, but I have such like thin blonde eyebrows and little glassy blonde eyelashes. It's very weird. I don't know what genetically is happening in this situation. Um, Yeah, my lashes, and I always forget to curl them. I do so little with my lashes because I just put falsies on. Like my lashes are never going to be okay for like a drag look by themselves. They're just not. Like I don't hate them. It's not a dysmorphia thing. I just recognize that like for drag I need to have falsies to really get the look that I'm going for. And so but yeah, I always make fun of Mama Champagne for giving me my glassy little eyelashes and thin lips, my little Reba McEntire top lip that disappears. All right, then speaking of eyebrows, this is my Glisten palette. And so I used this for the wedding. I used this kind of teal green because I did a green look, and so I used the green and then put shadow over it. For Ms. Pac-Man, I just did straight black. I was like, let's just do a cartoon, strong line. I don't even think I put. I might have put a. I'd have to look at the pictures. I might have put a little bit of shadow just at the very beginning, but most. I was like, I'm just gonna do black. I'm not gonna do a fun color. And then for the main look, I think I did. What did I do for that one? I think I did brown. So I might have done these browns, or I have another brown in here. I can't remember, but I did like brown and then put some pastel and shimmery stuff on there. So this is my glisten palette. This is my perfect eyebrow palette that I put together for that specifically. I did do my star on my face, so this is my little Color Pop. This is their little eyeliner stamp that looks like a star. And then I always bring a black eyeliner just in case, because sometimes when my skin, I'm 47, my skin has some texture. So sometimes when I press the stamp down, if I have a pore that's being particularly aggressive, I'll kind of color in where it missed, or sometimes I'll elongate the points. Sometimes the star comes out a little bit like, in Mario Brothers, the chubby little stars, they kind of turn out like that instead of like a real star. So sometimes I'll elongate the points a little bit. So this is just the Too Faced Better Than Sex black liner. So brought those, got some use out of those. This is from, is it Beauty Moon Cosmetics that did the Wilma Fingerdew palette? I brought this with me, and I did tap some of this green onto my green look, but I wasn't using a brush and I was going kind of fast, and it's pretty, but the base is really kind of sheer. You can kind of see how it's on my finger. You don't get a lot of base pigment. It's just the kind of glitter. And so I went over a couple places with it, but it's just like kind of sheer and glittery. And so you get the reflection, but you don't get a lot of color. And so I didn't use this very much. I did a little bit and I was like, that's not giving me the color that I need. I really would have wanted these to have like the base color of the shadow. They're really beautiful, but they just don't have that. So I know I can use these for other things, but for the looks that I was doing, I didn't get a lot of use out of this one on the trip just because it just it wasn't the formulation that I needed for what I was trying to do. Not that it was bad. Yeah, I like, she's the one I found fairly recently when this palette, a little bit before this palette was coming out, but Wilma Fingerdew. Let's see, what else do we have in here? We have, this is, I always bring, after I shave, I always put a little bit of moisturizer. This is just the Good Molecules Lightweight Daily Moisturizer. So this is always here at my filming table. And then whenever I go on a trip or I do a show, if I'm out of town, then I just throw this into the makeup case and then it comes with me so that I can shave, put on a little moisturizer, and then put on my primers. Speaking of a primer, here is the Smashbox. I use this. I only brought, oh, and there's the other one. I only brought 2 primers and I used them for all 3 looks. I was like, we're taking a lot of other options. So I was like, I know I like these primers together. The Smashbox, and then this is the Glow Recipe Strawberry BHA Pore Smooth Blur Drops. So I use these together. I often like 2 primers together, just make sure I'm getting a really good base coat before I start slapping on all that paint. We've moved on to the Mountain Dew. Let's see. Then we've got there's some things that are covered in yellow makeup from my Ms. Pac-Man look. Let me tell you, I struggled with that. We'll talk about it more when I get to the foundation. But this is the Made by Mitchell Blursh. This is his Blursh Pressed Lights Highlighter Duo in Dripped in Ice. I didn't end up using this one. I might have tapped a little bit of this pearly white shade onto something else, but I didn't really use this. This is a really pretty, like, oh God, it's so blown out. There we go. You can see it's a nice like pearl white shine. Can you see it on my white skin? This, I'm so pale. I'm so fish belly white. Hopefully you can kind of see that. These lights are so bright, but I'm kind of tucked in a corner and I don't, that one, the one that's over there, I can kind of move back a little bit, but this one is like right here. And so I'm still working to try to like balance the light a little bit better because these are not adjustable. These are just on off. And so I need to try to figure out maybe if there's a way I can rig it up so I can kind of move it back a little bit because it does seem to blow everything out, especially because I'm so pale. I'm so pale. I mean, I'm not Teresa's dead pale, but I'm always surprised because I'm like light almost to a medium. I Angelica Nyqvist from Sweden, she has mentioned a couple of her like foundation shades, and they're about the same as mine. Yeah, the skin of a killer, Bella. That's absolutely because I am like light almost to a medium, but when I am under these lights, I look extra pale. I mean, I look pink because I'm also very pink in my skin, but like my skin ends up looking extra pale. And so that's I'm not unpacking very fast. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by and for sticking with me as I just kind of rattle on and on. I did use this for my candy clown look. That was the first look I did on the photo shoot day. This is a Made by Mitchell shimmer eyeliner, and this is in seafoam. Seafoam. And this is a beautiful green. This I grabbed after, and it's really like more of an emerald with like a beautiful green shimmer to it. And I did use a little bit of this in the eye look for that candy clown look, and it was gorgeous. Made by Mitchell is coming to Ulta. Like 6 people sent me the post where they saw that it had been announced, and I was like, I cannot wait. I love Made by Mitchell, but I have to order it. His website is notorious for like terrible shipping times and like kind of lackluster customer service. But he's available on Beauty Bay and they have fantastic customer service. And for international shipping, it's actually super fast. So whenever I just am in a mood to like order, because it's international, so sometimes it takes a little bit longer and it's a little bit more expensive. And so I was like, well, I'll wait until there's a bunch of things that I want. Well, now it's going to be an Ulta. So that, and I didn't grab any makeup wipes, of course. Otherwise, I would clean this off, but I'll just leave this out so that I can clean it up later. My Scooby Doo, I have been keeping my Glamlight lip kits in their boxes because lip products, especially, I find once they're in the mass of lip stuff, it's so much, and I find it much easier to just pull out the same ones. But like Glamlight, I kind of know what the different lip kits are, so I keep them in their box, and then I have kind of a stack of all the boxes together, and but I pulled these out because bringing this big clunky box wasn't really useful. But I did use the lip kit a little bit. Um, oh, Serena Win Beauty. I don't know. I think Win Beauty is still there. When I went to I have a small Ulta, so I'm from Grand Forks, North Dakota. We don't have Win Beauty in store, but the last time I was in the Fargo Ulta, they still had it. So I think Serena's makeup line is still out there, but I'm not sure. Yes, and I love that Ulta, they have coupons. Their rewards program is fantastic. So, like Made by Mitchell, a lot of times if I can get stuff and it's available at Ulta rather than buying from their website, I will always go to Ulta because you get so much more with their rewards program. I just love it. So I'm going to keep that box close by so I can put the lip products in as I find them. I did bring 3 of my Spellcast Beauty Notoriously Morbid. These are the Shira shadows. Hordak I used during the Ms. Pac-Man. I used that with the Ms. Pac-Man shades. The Mermista, I used this on the wedding day for the green look. And somewhere in here I've got Glimmer, which I used for the Candy Clown look. Um, Is that a skincare line? Which one? Do you mean the Made by Mitchell? That it's a makeup line. I think they have some skincare products. But I love their like makeup line. They have the Blursh and they have a lot of other really fun random stuff. L'Oreal liquid lipstick, love this. Didn't end up using this shade because I did find my Maybelline hot pink lippy, and so I used that for the Ms. Pac-Man, but I love having a Maybelline. Um, this I used a lot. This is the Oracle Chrome highlighter palette from Bella Vita Bar. This is so messy. These are like flaky highlighters. And so I ended up using this a lot. I hit pan on the moon. I don't know if you can. Oh, yep, right in the middle. You can see this one is so fun because it just looks like peachy brown, but it's got a really beautiful, like, it's got some silver, but it's got little flecks of green. Oh, these lights. I'm so sorry. So this right, and I'm backwards. So like, but that right there is where it is, and it's got a real beautiful shine to it. But when you see it in person, it has some extra color. And then I use the sun, which has a really strong yellow reflect. And when you see the Ms. Pac-Man, you'll see like the highlighter Oh, it's beautiful, and it's because of that shade. This is the Play Pigment in Merry-Go-Round from Trixie Cosmetics. It's the yellow one, and I used that as an eyeshadow base with the Ms. Pac-Man look. And then just have a little poof. This is the Yeah, I don't think I used I brought this along. This is a Give Me Glow, one of their cake liners. This one I use for brows a lot. This is in Chocolate Wasted. But I didn't break this out, so I must have used the brown in that palette for the Candy Clown look. I couldn't remember. This is the Ellis Blend Bunny highlighter. I thought maybe I would use this with the Ms. Pac-Man because I was going to do like hot pink blush. The blush ended up a little bit more peachy coral. So I used the yellow highlighter instead of this one because I didn't go as hot pink with the blush as I was originally planning. But I liked the way that it looked with that kind of orangey coral. This is my Krylon mixing medium. I use this every time I do eyebrows with those cake liners. This is the Made by Mitchell blush. This is kind of a popsicle red. I know it's kind of blown out, but it is almost like a neon-y red. It's in the shade Giving Face. I didn't end up using this because, like I said, I went a little bit more peachy coral. I was going to use it as a base right before I put the I was going to use it way on the edges and then bring hot pink blush down onto my cheeks for the Ms. Pac-Man. But we ended up not doing as much of that. This is one of those Made by Mitchell highlighters, and I think I used. No, it wasn't. I ended up not using this one. I was going to go more purple with the blush, but I used this set instead, which is a little bit more pinky purple, and I used a little bit of this, and I used some of this. The Oracle highlighter palette, I love it. I don't love it as much as the Noctilucent from Blend Bunny, but it's not available anymore. They've discontinued it, and so I love that you could get that Blend Bunny or the Bella Beauté bar one because it has a couple of similar shades, but not the same. Polite Society powder. I used a lot of setting powder on my look. Guess who brought like 4 or 5 setting powders and didn't bring a single bottle of goddamn setting spray? This bitch. So I was a little bit annoyed at myself for that. I somehow forgot the setting spray as I was packing all of this. But I did use some Polite Society on my candy. I'm so excited for you to see the photos. Brooklyn, it takes a little while for her to edit because she's always on the grind. She's always working. And she always gives me a ton of photos. So I don't mind that it takes a little bit of extra time. But I cannot wait for you to see them. They're so beautiful. If you follow me on Instagram, anytime she does like a sneak preview, she'll like post it and then I repost hers. So I think if you go to my stories, at least one of them is still up, the Ms. Pac-Man. Oh, pretty girl. I think the cartoon, Candy Clown might have already disappeared, but just beautiful. Just absolutely love it. Electrum, I haven't tried Electrum Cosmetics. I need to. I should make a note of that because actually, when I came home, this is neither here nor there, but so if you've read on my website, I was estranged from my father for a couple of decades. We hadn't spoken. It was a whole thing. And then a year ago in May, he died. And so I wrote a post about it. And then this year, like on the anniversary, I wrote another post. It's all in the blog section, the thoughts and prayers. But when I came home from this trip, so like it's exhausting and everything, and then I get home to like papers from a lawyer, which you never want to come home to. So I was like, "What is this?" And I opened it, and it's the end of my dad's estate, and so I'm getting like an inheritance. It's not like a ton of money, but it's enough where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a couple smart things where I'm gonna like put some directly into savings. I'm gonna pay off my car. I'm gonna like do a couple other like adulty kind of things. But then I was also like, you need to set some of this aside for fun. And so I was like, this might be a perfect time to try some of those makeup brands that I've always wanted to, that have never like made it into the budget or whatever. And so Electrum is one that I've heard a lot of people talk about. So I will definitely look into that. So Daydreamer, I need to remember that, the Daydreamer. So that will be something that happens soonish. But yeah, just this big manila envelope, and then it's from like an attorney, and I was like, what fresh hell am I in for now? And it was just that the estate is like, because it goes into probate, I guess, for like a year. I don't understand how that works. My half sister was taking care of all of the. She very kindly like just she handled all of it of like cleaning out his house, selling off his house, getting all the stuff in order, taking care of any of the last bills, all of that kind of stuff. And so I just and then I just didn't hear anything for a while and kind of forgot about it and then came home to papers. So I did bring the one size ultra pink powder. I didn't use this, and I probably should have with the candy clown look. I bet it would have been beautiful. Yeah, it was kind of a weird surprise. I mean, it could have been worse. For I mean, I can't think of anything I've done that that I would be getting sued for. But I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm. There's no adult steering the ship, so I was like, am I getting sued? What's happening? So luckily it was of all the things it could have been, it was the it was not the worst. The bacon set translucent powder from Glamlight didn't touch it. Setting powders are never that exciting, so I always bring options. But a lot of times, if there's something that I know that works, like the Polite Society, I've really been liking this, and I just stuck to this. So, I did use a little tiny bit of the Jacqueline Cosmetics, rest in peace. This is her shimmer setting powder in carrots. And I did use a little bit of this for the wedding look, the green look. This is the Clean It Zero. This is a makeup cleansing balm. I just brought the big tub, so I would only have to bring one of these. I prefer the Blend Bunny Unveil, but this is a good one. It comes in bulk, and so especially when I'm traveling and I know I'm gonna have several looks, because I use a lot of it. Because if you saw the preview picture, I painted myself full yellow, including parts of my hands. So like having just a big blonde. Oh, the Tones of Turd palette. I actually went to look at that because payday happened this week. And so I was like, oh, I should go now and order the Tones of Turd. And it's totally sold out. And it looks like they're not going to do any more pre orders. The Grounded palette is still available, but I was like, I don't think I want it if it's not the kitschy. Because I had this idea. And I was like, how funny would it be to do a Get Ratchet with Me where I have the Tones of Turd palette? And then I thought, well, maybe I'll try those awful lip glosses that Sexy Red did that have all of the like really terrible names. There's like Booty Hole Brown and like Gonorrhea. The green one is called Gonorrhea. And I was like, what if I did a Get Ratchet with Me called Let's Get Shit Faced and use the Tones of Turd? How funny would that be? I'm a child. It's fine. But I was like, it could be like Garbage Pail Kids almost, because I grew up with those and I thought they were fun. And so I thought that with the like tones of turd would be really funny. This Unearthly Cosmetics, this kind of shimmery gloss, I didn't end up using this. I did use a little bit of this. This is the Too Faced. I've been wanting to use this more. This is the Turn Up the Light. It's like 3 different setting powders, pressed setting powders. I have it in the shade Light, and there's the like soft focus, the glow, and the dazzle. And I know that they all just kind of look, they almost looked broken. They just kind of look very beigey. There you can kind of see a little bit more of the color, but like this one has just a little bit of glow. This one has a little bit more, and then this is more almost like a highlighter. I used this one as kind of just to kind of brush over the face. Since I used this for the wedding, since I didn't have a setting spray. Excuse me, pretty girl. Instead of using the loose powder, I used this one and brushed it over. Because then I was like, well, then hopefully it won't look as powdery since I don't have like a liquid to spray over it. But I did really like using this one. I need to use it more. Then we have more brushes that we used. Oh no, some of these, do they fall out of oh no, I did. This one looks clean, but this one I might have used to do the eyebrows because these little angles are what I use for the eyebrows. And then I might have cleaned it on a makeup wipe and maybe it's just looking clean. So a few more random brushes. This Glisten pencil, this is in the yellow. It matches obviously the, I tried to use this to do my waterline, and I didn't get enough pigment from this. And so I think that this is probably great for eyeliner or for lip liner or whatever you're doing. For trying to do the waterline, I didn't have much success. I always have trouble getting color to stay on my waterline anyway. And so that's no knock on the Glisten pencil, but it just didn't do what I wanted it to do. But I also was using it in kind of maybe a different way than it was intended. A couple of loose sponges, some razors, classy dollar store razors. This, I brought a backup mascara just in case. This is the Firework Mascara by Maybelline. Obviously didn't even open it. Oh, sorry, I think I hit the microphone. This I did use for the wedding. This was part of my lip combo. This is the Unearthly Liquid Lipstick in Destroy. It's kind of a taupey stone brown. Very cool toned. This is from the Fool Fantasy collection from Lunar Beauty. And I love this. This was my loose powder brush. So this, all the times that I was doing loose powder, I was just kind of putting it on with this and kind of wiping it away. Lovely. It turned out lovely. Let's see. What else do we have? More loose razors. I also bring like way too many razors. I mean, I was doing drag on 2 different days, and so I had to shave on those 2 days. I brought 10 packs of razors. So I just am always worried, especially like Grandpa's pool house is out in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota. And I was worried about just like not having something. And so a couple of extra sponges. So I always bring extra is what I'm saying, because I worry. This sponge right here, I didn't end up using. I had used this before. It was dirty, but it's got the like silicone pad or like the plastic pad, vinyl pad, whatever it is. This is a newer Real Techniques one. It's supposed to be less, it absorbs less foundation. I brought this along because I kind of like this, but I ended up not using it. I ended up using my little Five Below sponges instead. But these are kind of fun. I do sort of enjoy them. And I don't mind as much if these are dirty because they are that kind of plasticky pad. Before I use it again, I just wipe it with a makeup wipe. It's not like the spongy sponge part of it. This is like, it doesn't really sink in. And so then I can just go ahead and use that. All right. This was my hot pink Maybelline. This is what I used for the Pac-Man lips. This is in the shade Romantic. I love these Maybelline matte lip inks. So good. So good. And they're like $11. They're so fantastic. And then there was a Made by Mitchell blush. I could have used this. I had forgot that I packed it. I could have used this with the Pac-Man blush to add in a little bit more of like a sherbety orange color, but I didn't. We're going to get to the Give Me Glow in a minute, and I really did like those. So that is the first case. Done. Empty. All right. Let's move that over there. And then let me see if I can get this other case up here. Because now, of course, I took the lid off. Ugh. Yeah, right before I left, I had gotten in an order from Ulta that had their version of the color switch because my color switch was getting real tragic. I mean, I had worn that black stipple sponge like almost to the base. It was too much. Hello, Dawn. Glad you made it home safe, that you're at your final spot. Oh yeah, it's too much. I have wild adventures. Let's see what we have. Some blurs from Made by Mitchell. I did mix this in a little bit with the Candy Clown look. This is called Candy Trip, so it was perfect. These photos, seriously, I feel like this every time I go. I work with such talented photographers. They can take this like swamp thing creature and turn it into such beautiful photos. I love it. But I really feel like, especially the Candy Clown look that I did is so pastel and soft and femme. I think they're going to be really beautiful photos. I'm very, very excited. I think they're going to be fun. I'm super excited. These are the 2 yellow foundations, and you can see I used a lot, especially of the sunset makeup. I struggled with this. If you saw my yellow foundation video, I did a comparison of these 2, and I did, like, as if I were doing maybe, like, a real face instead of, like, a drag face, and so because I think I started with 5 pumps for each side, and, like, they went on fairly well, and I didn't have a blending sponge, I was using those, like, makeup wedge sponges that I got from Five Below. I don't know if that affected it, I don't know if the primer underneath affected it, but both of these were, like, separating, and they weren't laying down, and it took me so long to apply this yellow foundation, and finally, I had one of those, like, wedgie sponges, it was like a circle shape, and I just had to go and kind of, like, lightly pat it, and I had to do that for, like, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get it to, like, and it would slowly, like, soften out the streaks, and so I did finally get it to look really good, and once I put on that setting powder, it's somewhere here, that glisten yellow setting powder, that really helped it all come together and really finished it, and it was really beautiful, but it took a lot of foundation, and I had to keep layering and layering and layering to get the effect that I want and to get it to even out. I mean, when I tell you that between these 2, just for the face, I probably used 30 pumps of foundation, I would not be lying. It took a lot of foundation to get that yellow, and I don't know why, because when I did the video, they laid down and it was so beautiful, and it just I don't know, I just couldn't get it to do it, and so you can see that this is, like, half gone, and this was much further down before I started, and then I did use a lot of the Indie Beat. This one by itself, when I used it on the hands, worked pretty well, so I kind of had mixed them for the face a little bit, and maybe that was a problem. They seem like they're very similar formulations. I don't know what I did to cause that problem, but it was very scary for a while. I was almost having a moment, a little crash out because I was like, if this doesn't work, like half this photo shoot is ruined if I don't get this Ms. Pac-Man look to come out. And eventually I did, but it was real touch and go. I didn't end up using the Made by Mitchell, either of the foundations. I brought the white to mix with if I wanted, and then I brought this one as well if I needed a mixer. I didn't end up using that because I didn't end up using the Makeup Forever. I brought this lighter foundation to mix because this is a little bit too dark for me and this is a little bit too light. So I thought if I mix them together. But I ended up for both the wedding and for the Candy Clown, I ended up using my L'Oreal Infallible. I had kind of rediscovered this. I remember in the like 2015, 2016, all the YouTube girlies were all about the like infallible foundation. And I've rediscovered this and I've been loving it. And so I use this for both the wedding and for the Candy Clown. For both of them, I mixed in a little bit of the Urban Decay Face Bond Luminizer in PCH and used the L'Oreal concealer, which is in here somewhere. I did use for the Candy Clown a little bit of the Auric Glow Lust as well, just underneath, because I wanted that to be kind of very ethereal. Here are the Glam Glow. I did use a little bit of the gloss for the wedding look, and it does have an interesting smell. I think it's almost like banana. I should look on the website and see what it is, because sometimes I think like caramel, but sometimes I think banana. It's a really good smell. And then I didn't end up using the lipstick, which has a similar smell. I ended up using that not Urban Decay, Unearthly, the Unearthly Destroy, that matte, the cooler brown one, rather than this kind of more peachy neutral kind of lipstick. I used that liquid lipstick um, with a lip liner and then a little bit of gloss. Here is that glimmer shade. This one. Whew. Yeah, I was surprised that this one didn't have more of a purple shade to. Oh God, this is never going to show up. What's happening? There we go. It sometimes I think it has a little bit of purple in the base, but it's very golden and almost a little bit of green. And so this one I did use with the Candy Clown to kind of like in the inner corners. So I did use a Spellcast shadow from the She-Ra line, one of them for each of the looks. More eyelash glue, always have backups. So we have 2 eyelash glues that we were working with. Put that in my little spinner. I had to trim some lashes, and so I brought a little eyelash scissor. A little bit of this. I think I used this on the wedding as well. I think I used this on my lips first and then added that Unearthly, the taupey shade to kind of ombre it a little bit. This I used a little bit with the Candy Clown look. There's two pinks. Yep, I used these two pinks together to kind of ombre, and then I put some shimmer shadow on top of them. I didn't end up using, I did bring Model, which is this beautiful shimmery light pink from Trixie Cosmetics, but I always prefer, especially for photo shoots, where I don't want to have to stop and touch up and do all that stuff. Sometimes I'll bring a tube lipstick because if it's really, really the color that I want, I'll go for it. But I always prefer liquid lipsticks. This Jacqueline liner I used, it's kind of a beautiful pink. I used that for the pink lips. I did use a little bit of the concealer. I mostly used the L'Oreal concealer, but I did bring in a little bit of this for the Candy Clown look. Let's put these into the Scooby-Doo box. And then that box can go away. There we go. Okay, Scooby-Doo. I don't know if you can hear that revving. The motorcycles are too much. I didn't end up using this Notoriously Morbid. It was a beautiful shade. And I thought about layering it with the Ms. Pac-Man, but like I said, I was running a little bit behind, and I just went with what I knew would work right away. And this one, I do think this is fun. This is Bitter End, and it's a beautiful hot pink with a little bit of purple. But some of these more metallic-y duochromy ones from Notoriously Morbid, they're a little bit more sheer, and you have to kind of play with them or layer them. And if I had had more time, I probably would have, because I really do like the effect that this gives. But this one's a bit more fussy, and I was running late, and I needed to not have fussy things. So I needed makeup that was not fussy. That's another reason that I bring options is because sometimes things don't go the way I want them to go, and then we have to have options so that I can just make it simpler. So we did that. This is an extra brush. And then we have this. I didn't end up using this melt lip liner, but I threw that in just in case. Another little brush that I used for eyebrows. The Trixie, I do love these, but I forgot my little spatula tool because these are almost gone. And this is how much I love them, that I will dig into the component to get every last little bit of this. Because this is like, this one is at the point where it is down. I have put it up as far as it will go. And so now I need to get a little spatula and dig in there to get the rest. But I forgot my little spatula. So I didn't end up using these. I used the Makeup Revolution cream and then a Trixie powder. I did use a little bit of this. This is the yellow eye base from P. Louise. And then, so I put this down, and then I put, it wasn't quite the color that I wanted. So then I also put a little bit of that play pigment over top of it. So we did kind of a mixture of those for the eyes for Ms. Pac-Man. I was going to try to use these little mini lashes. You can see I took one of the pink ones off. It's floating around in the container somewhere. And I tried to figure out, I was trying to glue it, and I just couldn't get it to look right. And again, with the photos, I wanted to make sure it wasn't experimenting time. So I was like, if I can't get this to stick and look good, it has to go. And so I tried to put one on. It didn't really work. So I just took it off. I'll use them for something else. I'll try it some other time. More sponges. These are the sponges I actually brought with me and then I bought more on the road because I am a monster. And I don't know, it could just be that nobody's saying anything, and that's perfectly fine. I haven't seen anything since Dawn said that she was laughing all the way. So if there are more comments that they're not coming through to me. So I love and appreciate all of you, and thank you for talking. But it just sometimes YouTube is on its shenanigans, and sometimes it's just quiet. And if it's quiet, that's fine, no pressure. But I don't want you to think that I'm ignoring you. So, oh, Don just said, I don't see anything either. I'm here. Okay. Yeah. If people are just quiet, sometimes in lives, I don't always chat a lot too. Sometimes I just like to vibe and listen. But I know that sometimes YouTube is just like, you don't have to see any more of your comments. That's okay. And it's like, oh, thanks for that. So here's the L'Oreal concealer that I used. That was fantastic. I did bring along the Melt Nightmare Before Christmas highlighter. I used a little bit of this in the Ms. Pac-Man, the whole melange of colors on the cheek. I used a very little bit of it, and it was beautiful. It's got that kind of coppery, and so when you see the pictures from the side, like, the blush and highlight, not to toot my own horn, but toot fucking toot, like, that blush looked really good. I loved it. It was so good. I loved it. So this is the Trixie, the Flower Power bronzer. I used this in my contour. This is such a staple for me. That Morphe brush that I showed off earlier, and then just working it through the two bronzer colors. Oh, so good for contour. It was so good for contour. I did use a little bit of this, another Made by Mitchell. These little blush or blush duos. Oh, except the packaging is shit. Like this one is coming apart. Um, but using this with the like orangey corally blushes on the Ms. Pac-Man to add a little shimmer, so good. But I've talked about all these things that I've like added to the blush. Oh, kimchi. We'll get back to that in a minute. Yes, I have. The main blush that was happening in all of this was I brought 4 of these Give Me Glow Dream Blush Duos, and I used every single one of these at some point. These are so good. I do really love them. They each come with a huge pan, a lifetime supply easily of matte blush and shimmer blush slash highlight. So good. And I used all of these at some point. This is Barbie Beach House and Malibu Sunset. Love that. So that's the main blush that I did was all of these. This is Bleached Peach and Icy Blonde. This was for the wedding. Then we have Drunken Love and Pink Moscato Wasted. So good. And then we have Playmate and Bunny. It's kind of bubblegum pink, and then this very pink coral gold. Oh, so good. Yes, kimchi. I've tried a lot from kimchi, and I like a lot of it. Their eyeshadows, I don't love for me because I need a lot of pigment, a lot of payoff. What I've tried hasn't been very good. I think if you're using less of it, if you don't need the like full ka-chunk, like Dutch boy experience, they would probably be good for other people. But I love like their blushes, their highlighters, the kimchi foundation. I find I really like. I think I have, yeah. This bottle is getting pretty empty and it's getting a little bit old. I should probably throw it out, but I would 100% reorder this foundation. I really liked this. This one was really good. I really liked their loose powders. I have a ton of loose powders, so I don't need to reorder it right now, but if I was getting low, that would be one I would consider. I do like a lot from Kimchi. Kimchi and Made by Mitchell are both brands that I feel like when they're good, they're very good. But when it goes wrong, woof, it goes real wrong. It goes really wrong. Like this. I've talked about this before and I will talk about this forever. This, what is this called? Shine slime. Oh, it's so bad. It's so greasy. It does have kind of a fun smell if I remember right. Yeah, it has kind of like a strawberry candy kind of smell, but it's so greasy. And I thought it would be something that would maybe like you could rub it in and you'd get like some glitter because sometimes I'm lazy about doing chest makeup. I never do the like contoured titty shadows and all that. I can't be bothered. I'm old. I've been doing this for 20 years or more. At this point, I can just have messy titties and it's fine. But I was like, if I rub this on the neck, I could just have like a little bit of glow and then I have my jewelry and it would be beautiful. This is so sticky and gross and never dries down. And it leaves a little bit of a shine, but it's mostly just grease shine. Horrible, horrible. And somehow I talked myself into buying 3 of these. This is why if you're not sure of a product, sometimes you should just order 1 and try it and find out that you hate it before you have 3 of them in your collection. Message to myself because I have 3 bottles of that trash. It's so bad. Oh, Sarah's on her TV. Hello, Sarah. Hello again on your TV. Um, the Alaska That's the effed up Alaska packaging. Oh yeah, the Made by Mitchell. Yeah, that horrible. And then the terrible quality where now the top is just like falling off. Oh god, what a mess. The product is so good, but the packaging is so terrible. Yeah, the blush is a lifetime supply from Give Me Glow. It's a lot. I had some of the single Give Me Glow blushes, but then when they released these, I was like, I still need these too. They're so good. Yeah, it's weird that Kimchi's eyeshadows are not more pigmented than they are because she's a big old drag queen. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if maybe I just got one that wasn't very good. I don't know what it is. Yeah, those are an oil slick for sure. It's so and not even it's not even like a lotion where you have that kind of lotiony feeling. It feels greasy. Like I don't know if it's supposed to be similar to like a body oil, but it like is thick like a gel. And you would think like a gel, if you've had like glitter gels, like eventually the gel dries down and then whatever glitter is just there in a beautiful, and sometimes then there's a little film and it gets flaky or whatever, but it dries. That stuff never dries. It's a nightmare. It's if you are a texture person, if that's like a trigger for you, it's a textural nightmare. Oh, it's too much. Oh, yeah, you mentioned those in the other live, the makeup body shimmer oils. I'll have to look into those. Um, yeah. I anything that's oily for me is always a bit of a and that's why because they were described as like a gel. And so I was like, "Oh, maybe this won't be an oily nightmare for me." It was terrible. It was an experience. Trauma. There's a therapist that'll work that out of me at some point in the future. I don't know. These little Jaclyn Hill under eye powders, I ended up not using these. I think because they were just so far down in the bottom. And I was going to use them for the wedding day. And then I just was like all over the place. And it was a lot of like trying to get ready. Um, this, I used a little bit of this. This is that Beauty Bay, the peachy. I used a little bit of this one for the wedding in my cheeky products. We're getting to the bottom. I didn't end up using these Lily lashes. I thought they were beautiful, but I had these lashes that I found at a beauty supply store that were kind of like bushy and kind of erratic. They were okay, but I tried to trim them and they were too much. And I ended up just throwing them away after that use because they looked okay, but they were kind of a nightmare to work with. And trying to trim them was a mess. So I didn't use the Lily lashes, but these look really pretty. Now we're getting into eyeshadows and one dirty brush. All right, so now we're unpacking the eyeshadows, and that's the last bit. Now I brought the Breaking Dawn Team Jacob palette. I didn't end up using this one because if you remember when I was packing, I had picked this out and I was like, oh, this will be perfect. And then I was like, oh, remember how I said I was going to start using my lethal singles more? Well, I brought two palettes of loose lethal singles, and that's what I used for um, the wedding look that was going to be green that I was all about. So for the wedding look, I had all these greens. And so instead of doing like neutral browns with green, I ended up just doing green, like the whole thing kind of green. So there, I used a lot from this kind of green area. I used this kind of like navy blue shade here to kind of darken. Rather than using black, I thought I'd darken with navy blue to keep it in that cool tone, but still colorful, still kind of dark. And so just some beautiful shades from there. And then I have this second palette, and I think I used, maybe I didn't end up using anything from here. I thought I might have used a little bit of this green shade right here. But yeah, so those I love. So the lethal shadows are what I used for the wedding look. So if you saw any of the pictures of me in that green floral dress with the brunette and green and purple kind of 60s inspired kind of, it had the swoop bang on it and then had the like bump it with the like big hair in the back. That was all these lethal shades. And then I added Mermista to the lid. So that was what I did for that one. For the Candy Clown, I used a mixture of these two cosmic brushes, Winter Wonderland and Delicious Delights. For obviously these, oh, backwards, these three greens right here I used, and then these two pinks I used from this one. And then I used a couple shades. I think I used this one right here. I wanted to keep it very I didn't wanna get too blue with it, and then I used a little bit, I think, of Winter Solstice, this kind of lighter shade. I think I did use a little bit of that in the mix of the shimmers. And that was the Candy Clown look, and then Ms. Pac-Man. Oh, and then for the Candy Clown, I used the Glimmer, Notoriously Morbid spellcast. And then for the Ms. Pac-Man, I used all just the like true blue, this kind of cyan blue, and then I used Hordak, and I went into a little bit of the more purpley ones in here. And so that look was all this palette and then Hordak. So I ended up not using my Glamlight Breaking Dawn, and I didn't end up having to use the blends palette. I like to have this for beautiful mattes. This is such a great backup. You've got so many great matte shadows in all those color families, and I thought I was going to have to maybe bring in a little bit of the yellow for the Pac-Man look, and I didn't. It worked out. So I had that. Oh, let's see. Yes, Lethal does kick ass. I love the Lethal. Um, Oh, yes, the gem and the holograms from Sephora. I have that here in this office somewhere. I think I'm gonna pull that out for when I do my gem collection videos, my toy videos, and talk a little bit about that gem collection because I still have the hair dyes. I think they partnered with Manic Panic and did 4 different hair dyes for that Sephora collection as well. The color has clearly gone bad. Like the Kimber just looks yellow. It's supposed to be like a bright reddish orange, and it just looks yellow in the bottle at this point. Um, but I had all 4 of them, and I still have the bottles. That's now just part of my collection. Um, Yeah, I've always loved Lethal. I forget about them. I have a hard time. I have so many single shadows over there, and there's something that blocks my brain from remembering to pull out single shadows. So that's why I was like, when I thought about it, I was like, let's bring these on the trip and let's just make sure we use some of these Lethal single shadows because they are so good and they're so beautiful colors. And I have so many of them. Because I have these 2 palettes and I have another one of these Anastasia. I showed it off when I was doing the packing because I also have one that's all the like warm and neutral colors. So I have all of these as well. So I have 3 like big binder palettes. And so I need to bring these out more. I was glad that Dion has been using her lethal. It got me inspired and reminding me to like pull them out. So I was very excited. But the Cosmic, also a very good. These, I used Cosmic brushes exclusively last year for the photo shoot that I did. And actually, I have a vlog that's going to be coming up soon of the photo shoot that I did last year. And it's been taking me forever. And then with my computer problems, I was going to try to get it up to be like, hey, I'm going on another photo shoot road trip, but here's the one from last year. And now, because of all the computer problems, I didn't get it edited before then. So, but that's the unpacking. That's everything that I took with me, and that's kind of what I used and what I didn't use. As you can see, when I go on these road trips, I like to have lots of different options. And then hello, Joette, nice to see you. Nice. I'm glad that you made it. We're kind of winding down, but it's always nice to see you. Um, oh, you're down to 1 Glamlight palette. I also really like Glamlight as well. I'm still a big fan of theirs. Like some of it is getting a little bit repetitive. Especially some of the horror stuff got a little bit repetitive. Um, oh, getting dry. But yeah, need to use your lethal singles more. Absolutely, John. They're so good. I love them. And I do think Janet, I do have to say, especially like now that I've like got Bella Beauté bar and I've got some of those that have the real like boom boom pow shimmers. Lethal has great like standard shimmers. I think that when you're comparing them to just like regular like standard shimmer shadows, Lethal like really stands out. But Lethal isn't done some multichromes, but they're not doing the like hollow chromes and like multichromes really the way that other brands are doing them. So but for staple like eyeshadows, I think they're absolutely fantastic for laying down a look. And for what I was doing on this trip where I was like building a look out of like some mattes and some simple shimmers and then putting like 1, maybe 2 really like banger shimmers on the lid, they were perfect for that. Yeah. Let's see. Joette came in. Everybody saying hello. Yes, repetitive, a lot with Glamlight. The newest Bella Beauté bar, which one is that? Is that still the Unnecessary Nudes, or have they announced another one? I'm still percolating that. I was gonna get the Unnecessary Nudes because I do like Bella Beauté bar. I think now that the Ellis Atlantis Volume 2 collection is coming out, and I've seen what it is, I might skip that Unnecessary Nudes just because I know I'm gonna love those Ellis palettes, and there's such good options, and that all shimmer palette is just, like, so stinking good. Oh, yes. Yeah, I love a good, like, unpacking kind of video, so I'm glad that people enjoyed this. I think they're fun for a live video. Um, yeah, it's just like a gorgeous, effortless kind of they blend so well. That's the worst when you find things that are like beautiful on their own and then you try to blend other shadows around them. Because I didn't even need to use my NYX glitter primer. Like those lethal mattes, I laid those down and then when I did a shimmer over it, it just laid down like perfection. So absolutely, that's what I love about their shadows is that they work so well with their own shimmer shadows and also with other shimmer shimmer shadows. Yeah, I love it. The nudes one, yeah, the Blend Bunny. Yeah, I'm gonna go for ahead for the Blend Bunny. I think I'm gonna get the big palette and the all shimmer. I was nervous because when Grace had sent a post that she had found and she said it's 4 palettes, and I was like, oh my god, am I gonna have to buy 4 palettes? But I like what they did is that it's one, so there's the all shimmer palette, and then there are 3 palettes, but it's basically like one. I think it's a 30 shade palette, or you can get the if you split it in half, there's one that's all more cool tone and one that's all more warm tone. So you can get either of the sets that you wanted, or if you want both of them but to have them separate, you can do that. Or you can just have all the shades in one big palette. So it's 4 palettes, but you don't need to buy all 4 palettes because you can either buy the one palette that has all of them, or you can buy them as 2 separate palettes, or just buy one of the separate palettes. So I definitely I'm gonna get the big one. I'm such a Blend Bunny fan, and Blend Bunny is one of those brands that is really, really active in the creator space, and has absolutely shown so much support to like my posts and my channel and stuff, and just words of encouragement. And we've had some really great conversations. She sent me the Machina palette that came out. And that was, something that she had worked on with her father, and her father passed away. And then I had the experience where my father passed away, and we talked a little bit about that. And it was a very different situation, obviously, because her father is very involved with like helping her with her business and all that kind of stuff. And so I really appreciated that I had done a ranking. I did one of my Thunderdome videos on Blend Bunny, and she saw it, and she was so sweet, and we had this wonderful conversation. And she's like, "I want to send you my next release," and she sent me the Machina palette, and she also sent me a face palette. The what is it called? That one, the face Forget Me Not. She sent me she included the Forget Me Not palette in there because that was the only other palette I didn't have. Is because she was like, "I want to send you a palette," and I was like, "Oh, well, I think I have all of them, but let me check." And then I was like, "I don't have Forget Me Not," and she's like, "Well, I'll send you the new one, and I'll send you Forget Me Not." And I was like, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much." And she's been so sweet and has said such wonderful things when we've had conversations. So, I just I'm a I understand it makes me hard to be biased. I'm gonna be a Blend Bunny stan forever. I love that brand, and I think that her energy is so lovely, and the way that she celebrates creators, I think, is really wonderful. So, I absolutely love that. But yeah, so that's the stuff. I think I'm gonna get going. I am so behind. This is the trying to have I like my stories, so I watch Days of Our Lives, Young and the Restless, and the new Beyond the Gates, which premiered in February, which has been phenomenal, so good. um but trying to have 3 daily shows that you keep up with, it gets to be a lot. So, like, when I'm on the road and I'm, like, busy with doing things, I got so behind. So I have, like I think I have 5 episodes of Beyond the Gates, 4 of Young and the Restless, and then I had 3 of Days of Our Lives, but I watched those today before my nap. It was a tough day. We watched soap operas and then napped. But yeah, so it was a little bit wild. But so I have some episodes to catch up on, so I'm going to work on a little bit of that. And yeah, I might try to edit a video tomorrow. Oh, you watch General Hospital too? I haven't watched that one. I watched forever. Um, I've watched Days of Our Lives for so long. I watched it in high school. That was when it was really crazy and really good when Marlena got possessed by the devil the first time and Carly got buried alive. Like it was really wild and I loved it. And then I went to college and I didn't have cable and it was hard to keep up with, so I stopped watching it. But then every once in a while I would pick up like a soap opera digest magazine at the grocery store and kind of keep up with what was going on. And then like 4 years ago, it was like 2021, I think, Marlena got possessed again. They did like a 20, it was like 25 years after the first time. And so they, as an anniversary thing, they brought it back. And then other people started getting possessed that kind of jumped around from person to person. And that brought me back into Days. And then I forget, there was something a couple years ago that like brought me into Young and the Restless. I was reading about this storyline that was happening. And then when I heard about Beyond the Gates, I was like, "Oh, I have to check this out." And it's been so, so good. Thank you, Jen. I'm glad that everybody enjoyed seeing what I packed. And yeah, I do like my soap opera things. Um, I love Marlena. I do love Marlena. So I understand that if you're not a Marlena fan, it gets a little bit old. But I did like the new possession because it started where Marlena got possessed, and then it like jumped to Johnny, and then to like Belle for a hot second, and then Allie, and so it started going around. I was like, the devil should just be like a character in Salem who like pops up, and started with Doug actually. So Doug has now passed away, but it was very fun that Doug Williams got to be the first person possessed, and then jumped into Marlena, and she did a whole thing. I do have to say that the possession in the '90s was much better because in the '90s Marlena was running around like desecrating churches and like trying to like make evil prophecies come true. The devil this time was just like trying to break up with Chanel all the time. I don't know. I was like, what is happening? Because the devil like jumped into Johnny, who was married to Chanel, and broke up with her. So then Chanel ran to Allie to like get comfort or whatever, and they got together. Well, then the devil jumped to Allie and broke up with Chanel. And I was like, is the devil just in Salem to break up with Chanel? Like, is that the whole thing? It was so cheesy, but so definitely was more interested in breaking up happy couples than causing actual mayhem. So that was a little. And then when Allie was the devil, she stole Sierra's baby. So that was kind of fun. But oh yes, Beyond the Gates is on Paramount Plus. Yes, I love Jack and Jennifer. Oh, EastEnders. Yes. I've seen little clips of that because I watch a few British YouTubers like Novimpia and Luxaria, and every once in a while they'll include little clips from EastEnders and talk about characters. So I've watched a few clips to just kind of. Marlena's not possessed again, um, but it is. She was possessed like a couple years ago, and then they eventually got the devil out of town. So, but it was like 2021 that they had her possessed again. Oh, Victor Kiriakis. Yeah. Was he possessed by the devil at some point? Because in the new one, it was Doug Williams. He was one of the older guys. Victor was already dead by then. But he might, I wonder if they did something with him. There's a whole big chunk of time where I didn't watch it. And so I don't know if they ever did a devil thing at some point in the middle. But yeah, Doug Williams was the first one to get possessed. And that was a lot of fun the way they did that. Um, and so that was I love Beyond the Gates. I do think I started it from the very first episode, and it was a little slow to get into because they're having to establish all the characters, and there was so many of them, and there's so many like people, and especially like the husbands. It took me a long time to figure out who the husbands were on Beyond the Gates, because if you haven't seen it, it's basically based around this Dupree family. And so there's like Vernon and Anita, who are like the grandparents. They're like the matriarch and the patriarch of this like gated community. And then they have two daughters, Danny and Nicole. And then Danny was married to Bill, but he just divorced her and ran off with Haley. And that happened before the show started. And then Nicole is married to Ted. And then Danny has two daughters, and Nicole has a daughter and a son. and they all have husbands because the son is gay, so they all have husbands. And so at first, the husbands were really kind of side characters, and so trying to like keep track of who was who, I was like, I'm gonna need a cheat sheet. I've got it figured out now, but it was a lot of establishing these characters. But I do have to say, like, I think Paramount, CBS has really clearly invested. So if you don't know Beyond the Gates, it's the first like soap opera to premiere on a network in like 25 years or something like that. It's the first soap opera to have a predominantly black cast and production crew. It is like it's really groundbreaking and really interesting. And the money that they've spent on it, because you can tell, because if you've watched Days of Our Lives, some of these people are supposed to be like billionaires, and all of the sets are like broom closets. They're so small, and the costuming budget is really kind of sad. The costuming on Beyond the Gates, if Jerisa Featherstone does not win a daytime Emmy, we riot because the costuming on Beyond the Gates is so good. It is so good. Every once in a while, there'll be like one outfit that I'm a little bit like, huh? But the outfits are beautiful, and every person has such a like defined style that when you see them, you're like, yeah, that's a Haley outfit. That's a Nicole outfit. That's a Danny outfit. That's, whoever, all these kinds of things. The sets are really big and spacious, and they look like real locations, and they're so beautifully decorated. They don't look like they're just on a soundstage. So you look like you're in some sort of um like in a person's home. Oh, Generations. I don't know. Was Generations though, was that a daily soap opera? So I think it might be that um I'm not I know the name Generations, but was that like a nighttime soap opera that was like on a certain day of the week, or was it a daily? Um I know that name. I'm trying to like place it. I'm trying to remember. Because I just was reading, it was daily. I'll have to look into that because the article that I saw said that this one was the first like predominantly black cast, and maybe it's just because it was cast and crew. So maybe that's the distinction. I'll have to check into that because I don't want to be misspeaking if that's different. Yeah, so that may be the differentiation was the cast and the crew. Generations. I have there's so many things I should keep a little notebook when I go because I have to look into Electrum Cosmetics and I'll look into Generations because I'm thinking about doing a video about Beyond the Gates because it was so good. It's so good. And now they're starting to be more like the drama has started to pick up a little bit and there's just such interesting sort of characters. Kristoff was on there before YNR. Oh, interesting. Okay. That name sounds so familiar, but I only watched Days when I was in high school in the 90s. I did watch a little bit of Another World, and that was just because Anne Heche was on there and she played identical twins. Um, Marley and something else. I can't remember what the other one was called. And they were up to some weird shenanigans. And I thought the guy who played Jake was super hot. And that was like a sister show to Days of Our Lives, where sometimes characters would cross over. And I think there was some crossover, and that's what got me to watch a little bit of that. And I tried to watch a little bit of Passions. My friend Becca really loved Passions. And I just couldn't get into it. I don't know why, because I like spooky, weird stuff, and I liked all the weird stuff happening on Days. But oh, Neil Winters. Okay, yeah, so I'm so new to YNR. I've gotten to the point where I don't have to have it with me all the time, but like especially when I was getting back into Days of Our Lives and when I first started watching Young and the Restless, I would have to pause it a lot because I would have my phone with me and they would mention a character and I would have to look up, okay, like who is Carolyn Chancellor? Like who is this person? When a little while after Marlena was possessed, they brought up this character on Days named Jordan Ridgway, and I was like, I have no idea. So I'm like googling like who is Jordan Ridgway. So that's if you're nervous about getting into a soap, if you just kind of let yourself go with the flow and just pause it and like Google, it'll give you all the answers, and then you can catch up with all the history because so many of these shows, like Days, has been on for like 60 years. So there's a lot of stuff. If you have to Google it, don't be ashamed. It's a lot to keep track of. Oh yeah, I love a good soap opera. And I think in college it was harder to like keep track of it. And also I went and became an English major and I think I got a little snooty where I thought I was too highbrow for soap operas. And I'm like, now I'm just like, they're just fun. Like nobody's looking to them to be like documentaries. Like they're just it's ridiculous. People come back from the dead. Like people just run around committing crimes and they never go to prison. Like it's not supposed to be real. It's supposed to be soapy and campy and fun, a little bit of romance, a little bit of drama. Like it's just fun. And I am finally getting back to a place where I'm allowing myself to just be like, I just like it because I like it. I just like it because it's fun. Santa Barbara. I didn't watch any Santa Barbara, but I there were some people in my class who were on Port Charles because that was the spinoff of General Hospital, right? Because is Port Charles the town where General Hospital is set? Do I have that right? Um, Mary Hartman, Mary Hart. Oh, I don't know if that is or not. If that's like a soap opera. I did watch with my grandmother. She was a which one did she watch? She watched Knots Landing. And so I did as a kid. I don't remember anything except I remember Val, excuse me. Val wore a wig and had a gun and made somebody take pills because she was going to make it look like she killed herself. And that's all I remember from Nuts Landing was that weird dramatic storyline. And it was somebody, I think her name, either Val was the one who was going to die or Val was the one who did it. I think Val was the one who did it. But she wore like this horrible curly brown wig and made this other woman take pills. The things you remember. Sometimes I can't even remember why I walked into a room 2 seconds ago, but I can tell you about what happened when my grandmother watched Knots Landing. Oh, it's so wild. I've watched Dynasty now as an adult. My Nobody in my family watched Dynasty as a kid, but I love the catfights and the glamour. I have like the first 5 seasons on DVD, and I do enjoy them because it's so wacky. And actually, I kind of got into them because Dynasty had the first like gay male character in a primetime network television show, Stephen Carrington, and he was there, and that was one of the big story arcs of the first season, was that his ex-boyfriend from New York or wherever showed up, and Blake went into a rage and like pushed him, and he fell down and hit his head on the fireplace and died. And then Blake got charged with his murder, and it was this whole big thing. And so like that actor Al Corley brought this like character, and then in season 2 they walked it back and they married him off to Sammy Joe, but she would always make these veiled threats of like, I could always reveal your big secret or whatever, but then they tried to play it off like, well, maybe he was just straight and we don't have to talk about that. And and then later though, then he got another boyfriend and that boyfriend also died. They were not afraid to kill off a boyfriend on Dynasty, which is a little problematic. But I didn't watch any Dallas, but I definitely was aware of J.R. Ewing. I always thought he was so hot in the 80s. My little closeted self, because he was on My Dream of Jeannie. My Dream of Jeannie? I Dream of Jeannie. And I just thought he was so dreamy. I just liked him. I just thought he was cute. Um, Child of soap operas. I love them. Kayla! Yes, Kayla is still on there. Kayla Brady. She's one of the main. Kayla and Patch. Yes, absolutely. That's so funny. Yeah, Larry. What was Larry? Oh, Falcon Crest, not Silent. Yeah, the Colbys. I haven't seen any of the Colbys, but I might try to see if that's on streaming somewhere or if it's on DVD after I finish. I need to go get the other seasons of Dynasty because season 5 is a terrible place to stop because that's where they're in this like European country and there's this big like massacre at the wedding where they shoot everybody, and really it looks like they shoot everybody and everybody's dead. That was the big cliffhanger, and then it comes back the next season and it turns out that only Steven's new boyfriend and one other like side character are the only two that actually died. Everybody else is fine. um oh yeah, EastEnders. Yeah, it's tough when these, because even like Days of Our Lives and on Peacock, they have like 2 years worth of episodes that you can go back, but that's all. And so, like, I'll go on YouTube and I'll find like clips of things. Somebody has put together the whole Marlena possession from the 90s and they've got it all edited together. It's so good. Yeah, so good. All right. Larry Hagman, that's his name. Yes. Oh, love it. Coronation Street. Yes, I've heard, and there's another one that's British. EastEnders, Coronation Street. And I feel like there's another one that Novimpia references that are UK soap operas. What is it? EastEnders. I can't remember. Dallas is on Prime. Dynasty, I think, is out there somewhere. I should look. I'm such a like, I still love physical media because stuff can disappear so easily from streaming, or they'll switch it. Can we talk? I don't know if anybody here has seen Dairy Girls on Netflix. If you have not, it is phenomenal. Phenomenal. It's so good. It's this Irish show set in the 90s during the Troubles. So hilarious, but also at least once every season, I ugly cry. So good, so sentimental. But the last episode of season one, there's a character named Arla McCool, and she is at this school talent show and she's doing step aerobics. She's got like a step and she's doing step aerobics. And in the original show, it's set to Like a Prayer by Madonna. And she does this whole thing where she's got praying hands, but then she's doing like a step aerobics routine. And I don't, something must have happened with the licensing because now when you watch it on Netflix, instead of the Like a Prayer, they just added in some different, I think it's like an M People song. And it looks terrible because the whole thing is choreographed to Like a Prayer. And now they've switched the music and I'm enraged. And I want to try to find a DVD set of Dairy Girls so that I can, when I watch that episode, it can have the correct music. Or I'll just mute it and I'll have to play Like a Prayer on my phone because it's so horrible. I hate it. It makes me so mad that they've switched that out. Um, who is my crush on Days? I did a whole video. If you want to check on my channel, I did my top 10 hot hunks of Days, but my number one is Paul Telfer. Oh, that Scottish accent, and he's always shirtless, and he's just a little bit furry. Oh no, and when he's mad, he gets this like glower that I'm just like having the vapors. But if you want to see all of the hot men, there's so many hot men on Days, but I did a top 10 countdown. And Connor Floyd, who played Chance Chancellor on Young and the Restless, he is moving over to Days and he's going to be the new Chad Demira starting in like April of next year. I'm super excited. Oh, Upstairs Downstairs, I've heard of that one. Hollyoaks, I've heard of that one. That wasn't the one I was thinking of, but I think maybe I'm just thinking of EastEnders and thinking it has a different one. Yeah, I think something happened with Ab Fab too, where that Wheel on Fire song, but not for all of the seasons. I think just a couple of like the American seasons, they had to replace it when it streams. And it makes me so mad. I do remember Emilio. I didn't like Emilio because I was a Jack and Jennifer fan. And so when she was with Emilio, I did not like that. Also, when she was with Peter Baker, who ended up being like with Kristen was it Baker? Kristen Baker, Peter Baker. I can't remember because now she's Kristen Demira. Um, yeah, I didn't like, I thought Peter was a hot man, but I was not happy. Whenever Jennifer was with somebody who was not Jack, I was not happy because I loved. And now I'm so sad because Melissa Reeves will always be Jennifer to me. And I apparently she's a little bit of a gross Trumper, which makes me sad because the replacement Jennifer is terrible. She's just not Jennifer. Her name is Katie McLean, and Katie McLean is actually on she's on Beyond the Gates. She plays Danny's best friend Pamela, and she's great on Beyond the Gates. So it's not that she's a bad actress. She's just not Jennifer. And so anytime they bring her on to play Jennifer, I just like I grit my teeth because she's a terrible, terrible Jennifer. Oh yeah, a couple years ago, it was so bad because like Jennifer, they had her just standing behind Jack because Gwen had come back and Gwen is Jack's daughter. She's the one with the British accent. Emily O'Brien, who I love, she's fantastic. But like Jennifer spent like 2 years just standing behind Jack with her hand on his shoulders and being like, "Don't talk to my husband that way." And like they gave Melissa Reeves nothing. And then they went away for a while and they came back and like Jennifer, it was after Abigail died. So they brought her back, but they didn't get Melissa Reeves. They got this Katie McLean. And then suddenly Jennifer had all these juicy storylines. Like Abigail had just died. Jennifer started taking pills again. She hit Gwen with her car. It was all of this kind of stuff, and so it was all of this great material. It's like, well, where was Melissa Reeves when they actually gave her storylines? They wasted her for 2 years just standing behind Jack, like comforting him and like patting his shoulder or whatever. And then when she finally gets storylines, they switched to Katie McLean. It was bad. Oh yeah, Abby's been dead for like 2 years, but I think if they don't bring her back, let me tell you, because they did this whole storyline last summer where they brought on what is her name? The actress is Annalyn McCord. She was in the reboot of 90210, I think, and she might have been maybe on the OC, but they brought her back as Fabby. It was fake Abby because she was like Abigail, but she had amnesia or whatever. But it turns out she's actually this other character named Kat Green. So they kept name dropping Abby and all this kind of stuff. And then they find out that Abby's body is missing from the cemetery, but then they reveal that this Annalyn McCord isn't Abby. She's Kat Green, who is related to this guy who was a doctor and a couple other characters on the show. And she's still around and hanging around. And they keep talking about Abby, and nobody knows where the body is. And so if they don't actually bring back Abby at some point, I think people are going to like lose their minds because they keep talking about her all the time. All the time. Oh, Katie McLean was on One Life to Live? Oh, fun. I know she has like a history on soap operas, and I've heard she's really good on other things, but she's just a terrible, terrible, terrible Jennifer. She's just, her energy is not Jennifer because Jennifer is like trouble. Jennifer, like she's not one of the villain characters, but she's trouble. Like she's just wild. And so it's very strange whenever Katie McLean is there because she's too proper and like, oh, that's too much. All My Children. I never watched All My Children, but I was always rooting for Susan Lucci because I know it took her like 13 tries to get her daytime Emmy. Yeah. So Abby, I'm hoping will come back. Bold and the Beautiful. I was gonna then I almost started trying to watch Bold and the Beautiful too. The Bold and Beautiful as well. Obviously not two, it's not a sequel, but Bold and the Beautiful because it's a spin-off of Young and the Restless. And I really like that character, Lauren Fenmore. And she barely shows up on Young and the Restless. And when she does, she doesn't have any storyline. She's just there to like support other characters in their storyline. And then I heard she was being on Bold and the Beautiful a bit more. So I was like, well, should I watch that one? And then I was like, you can't even keep up with the 3 daily shows that you watch already. So this is stop it. Oh, yeah. Recasts are tough. And I try to give grace because I understand that like soap operas are a commitment and sometimes people are just done. And I have so much respect for the people like Doug Williams, who was on Days of Our Lives until he died. Like John Aniston, who was Victor, Doug, what's his name? What's his real name? The guy who played Doug Williams, Bill Hayes. I mean, they commit to those characters for decades. And they still like go in and they put in the work and they bring some like emotional complexity to it. I think that's admirable. I think being able to commit like that is fantastic. And soap operas, God bless them, especially like Days of Our Lives will let you work until the day you die if you want to. There are some times where, like, towards the end with Bill Hayes, I mean, my understanding from all of like they've interviewed Julie, Susan Hayes, who's like his wife and played his wife on the show. He wanted to be there, like all that kind of stuff. Because towards the end, like apparently he was blind. Some of the last few times that he was on the show, his health had deteriorated so much that like he was blind, and so they would like set him in a chair, and then they would set up the other actor. They're like, okay, where's his eye line? And then they would just put an actor there, so it looked like he was talking to the person, but he like couldn't see and just it was so sad. But the tribute to him was really beautiful. The tribute to John Black was really beautiful. Um, Drake Hogestyn, um, that was tough. Two Roman Brady's died within like a month of each other because Drake Hogestyn, it was revealed that he had cancer, and then he died. Like it was very aggressive. He died very quickly after that. And then like a month later, Wayne Northrup, who was also on Dynasty, the first season, I think. That actor who played Roman Brady died. And so now we're stuck with, I mean, Josh Mallerman is fine. He's played a bunch of different characters. He used to play Chris Kosachek or something, but he's like the third Roman Brady, and he's such a mush mouth that I'm just like somebody. Every time he's in a show, well, Kate, we're gonna have people at the pub today. Hope that we have enough clam chowder. Like he just is such a mumble mush mouth that I can't understand half of what he's saying. And but he's the one Roman Brady left. We've lost the other two, so Bold and the Beautiful 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yep. All right, we should get going. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around. We've been here almost 2 hours. I appreciate all of you for stopping by, and thank you for chatting and saying hello, and thank you for watching me unpack. And thanks for all the soap opera chat. Because none of my friends are. That's the thing. That's why I love the internet. It's why I love YouTube. Because all of my friends locally do not care about soap operas, any of the soap operas that I watch, and they do not care about makeup. So having a community that I can talk to about all my geeky, nerdy loves. Um, oh, Xena. I love Xena. Yes, yes, we definitely will have to. And I need to make thumbnails. I for the other one, I was going to go make a thumbnail, and then I forgot before I left. So I'll have to make some thumbnails and change the title. And thank you, everybody, for stopping by. I had so much fun. We're going to do lives more often. I'm going to try to pinpoint like a specific day and try to figure out when is a good time to do it. And yeah. But thanks, everybody. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button before you go. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do that so you can catch up with all of my content. I am the Trash Queen of Glam, Geek, and Gore. And now I've completely forgotten my whole intro. So leave me a comment while you're down there. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I try really hard to have at least one video a week. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, you might even get a bonus video. Ooh, soap opera-rific. And while you're down there, if you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, all of my social media will be linked down in the description box below, including a link to my website, The World of Champagne at janessaj.com. In a real video, the website will pop up like magic. I love and appreciate all of you, and until I see you again, bye. End.